All right. So I am live on Instagram, live on YouTube. Hello. I'm going to just wait a moment or two for people to jump on. I'm really excited about this particular webinar Wednesday. This is a subject that I'm very passionate about, that I know a lot about. So I'll just wait a few more moments, but I'm ready. Got my stuff over here that I'm going to show y'all. I've got my water. I'm in my sports bra because I just got done doing some workouts. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I like punctuality. So anywho, my name is Nefertiti, and you can find me on the web or on Instagram at Yogi Nefertiti and at YouTube, Yogi Nefertiti. So today's webinar Wednesday is going to be about supplements and superfoods for the light worker. Just to give you a little bit about my background, I've been in the health and fitness industry for about 19 years. I've been a certified personal trainer for 19 years and a yoga instructor. I've been a certified plant-based nutritionist for a little over 9 years. Now, I won't be promoting veganism in this video. I am plant-based. I am vegan myself, but that's not what this video is going to be about. So everybody's welcome here. Hello. Melanie and Goddess999, thank you for joining me. And hello on Instagram. I just missed it. Okay. But yeah, so I'm really excited to talk about this because this is something that I have not seen a whole lot of information put out about, and it's really important. We have to remember that it's our bodies that are on this ascension journey, right? Our bodies are the ones that are taking us through this life, having all these experiences. So we should do the best that we can to take care of it, to maintain it, right? And I'm not going to be promoting like any crazy health or exercise programs on here or anything like that. This is simply going to be you utilizing probably things that you already have in your home as superfoods, as things to help you with this ascension process. So as always, this is a donation-based event, but if you can't donate, don't worry about it. Everybody's welcome. The energy is more valuable, right? The information that I share is very much a part of who I am and things that I've tried and incorporated into my life, and I've seen very good results with. So I want to share that with you. So let me go into my notes. I thought I have the wrong one pulled up. So let me go right into it. So anything that I talk about in this webinar, I'm going to have supporting information for, and I will list that in the community tab when we finish the broadcast. So any websites that I think might be helpful, any books or any other resources like that, I will post them in my community page so that you can do further research, right? And another thing that I wanted to mention about what I'm going to talk about today is when it comes to supplements, my belief is that they are a supplement, right? So you should already have a solid nutritional program in place, or you should have done a couple of things like maybe taken a blood test to see if you are deficient in certain things, and maybe an allergy test, because this is going to provide you with information that's going to be helpful for you in selecting which supplements to take and which supplements to avoid, right? Because we don't need to take a whole bunch of things, right? The body is a very well put together machine. It knows how to heal itself. What we need to do is provide an environment for it to do that, right? So that is the whole purpose of supplementation, is to make sure that all of your levels are balanced and that you are able to experience optimum health, okay? So one thing that we need to know as light workers, as people that are awake, is that we are in a spiritual warfare, right? And we are battling entities, structures, if you will, that have a lot of power, a lot of money, and a lot of influence. So we have to understand that the food industry has been infiltrated by this force. Okay, that's why there's what I read a statistic the other day that somewhere along the lines of 60% of the food consumed in the standard American diet is processed. Right? That's crazy. That's over half. Half of the food that most people eat is processed, dead food, inert food. That's a subject for another video, but I just thought I would give you that information. So we just need to know that, we are having to be responsible ourselves for our nutrition and what we put into our bodies, and that the food industry is in bed with the medical industry. We need to know that as well, right? The medical industry is a multi-trillion with a T conglomerate, okay? So there's a lot of, that is crazy. There's a lot of advertising. You know that America is the only country that allows pharmaceutical companies to advertise their products. They don't allow that in any other country that I know of but here. So that's crazy. So we just need to know. There's a quote by one of the doctors that I was listening to. He said that good health makes a lot of sense, but it doesn't make a lot of dollars, right? So of course, you're not going to hear about some of the things that I'm going to show you today in mainstream media, right? These are things that you either have to go out and research yourself because what the medical industry has prescribed to you is not working, or you just need an alternative because you don't have insurance, right? Hello. So that's why I am presenting this information to you today. So as I mentioned, I am not a doctor, but I am a trained professional in nutrition. So I would advise you to please consult with your physician before trying any of these items that I'm going to show you, and do your own research and make sure that everything is going to be safe for you to use in conjunction with whatever medications that you're taking, right? Always consult your physician, definitely. And make sure that you are doing things that are based on data. I'm kind of nerdy when it comes to nutrition and things like that. I need hardcore data. I love anecdotal type stories and reading those, and that's great. But I need to see some numbers, okay? Because our health has become a very confusing subject because of the amount of information that's put out, right? So I just feel like if I have something concrete to look at, scientific studies, that's where the medical industry comes in. That's where they're winning, because they do this research, right? And they provide that information for us. That part they do get right. And I believe that the medical industry is great with treating trauma, right? If I get into an accident, if somebody cuts off my arm, take me to the hospital, okay? When I had my son, I'm all into natural birth for other people. That was not the route I was going to take in the 21st century, okay? I'm going to go to the hospital, but that's just my opinion anyways. Right. Okay, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, blood tests, allergy tests, those things are very important. Make sure just to give you a quick review, make sure that you are doing these things on a regular basis, just so that you can be responsible for your health and well-being, all right? And practicing good nutrition and hydration, right? These should be at the foundation of any program. Definitely hydration. There are so many things that can be avoided just by drinking enough water, okay? My view on multivitamins, because I know this question is going to come up and I'll probably answer it again later. Again, that goes back to you taking those tests and seeing what you're actually deficient in, first of all. And know that a lot of multivitamins are a part of a company that's trying to make a profit, right? If you're going to get what you need if you have a well-balanced diet. With the exception of vegans, we should be supplementing with B12, because that's something that we can get it from fortified foods too. So anyways, let's move on to what we should be. Let me back up a little bit. So the purpose of the things that I'm going to show you today is to mainly to decalcify our pineal gland, right? Because we know the pineal gland is the seat of the soul. It's where the ascension process originates over and over again in a cyclical nature, because it's connected to our third eye. Our third eye is awareness, right? The things that we are ready for, basically, if I'm just talking about it in practical terms, the levels of reality that we are ready for based on our soul's blueprint and based on where we are in learning our lessons in this life. Okay. So another way that the dark ones, the Illuminati, whatever name you want to give to this group, this entity, okay, they have put toxins in our environment. So that's going to come in the form of, the foods, fluoride in the water and toothpaste, chemtrails, right? We all know about chemtrails, and people have different theories about them. But I'm all about research and data and studies. And I've read several studies where people have taken samples of the smoke that's left behind out of these planes, because it lingers, and there were heavy metals found in that smoke, right? And we know that heavy metals decalcify or calcify the pineal gland. Okay, so some of the things I'm going to show you, well, most of them are going to help decalcify your pineal gland so that you can have a deeper spiritual connection, and they're going to detoxify your body of heavy metals. That's a whole nother subject as to why they're putting so many heavy metals in the environment, in these chemtrails, because, metals can be controlled by technology, right? So that's another subject. And like I mentioned, food toxicity. That's another reason why we would want to incorporate these products into our daily life. So let's start with the things that you probably already have. The first thing is sea salt. Right? Now, you can definitely get organic pink Himalayan sea salt, but a lot of light workers are on a budget, right? So this will actually do, and this is just Morton sea salt. I paid $1.79 for this. It was on sale, so I got a bunch of them. So you should definitely have sea salt for cleansing purposes and for spiritual purposes. So you can use sea salt to cleanse your home, energetically, right? So you can take a glass or a container of purified water, filtered water, and put a couple of tablespoons of sea salt in it and place it in four corners of your home. And it's going to remove stagnant, stale, negative energy from your home. You can make a perimeter around your home with sea salt, or you can create a perimeter around you while you're meditating. On a physical level, sea salt has a very purgative effect. So if you've been experiencing some constipation, or perhaps you've had a night of eating that wasn't so well, you can get up the next morning and drink a sea salt purgative. So that's 32 ounces of warm water with sea salt, 2 teaspoons of sea salt, not regular salt. It has to be sea salt. And you drink this within about 10 minutes. It'll clean your entire system out within about a half an hour. So wait for that to happen before you start eating, right? Don't eat until you've had a bowel movement, because otherwise the purgative effect of the sea salt will linger, right? And start with a teaspoon maybe, or a teaspoon and a half, and then build up to 2 if the water is too salty and it's activating your gag reflex. But you should try to drink this relatively quickly so that the sea salt gets into your system and has time to work its way through your bowels. So that's just one way to really clean you out very quickly. All right. Some people might even need a little bit more than 2 teaspoons, but definitely start with the lower number first. All right. So sea salt can also be used for body scrubs, for foot soaks. You can also use sea salt for spiritual baths, right? So you would take a cup or 2 of sea salt, and then you can mix in some essential oils, perhaps use some crystals in your sea salt bath. But be mindful that not all crystals like to be put in water, like selenite or the softer crystals. So if you want to use those with your spiritual bath, you can place them on the outer corners of your bath and still get that energy. But things like quartz crystals, black tourmaline, any of the jaspers, those are very great for taking spiritual baths with. Rose quartz, amethyst. So like I said, you could do 2 cups of sea salt in your bath water. And you could also do a cup of sea salt and a cup of baking soda. And I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. Now, when you're taking a spiritual bath, you should already be clean. So you want to take a shower. So let me back up. The first thing you want to do is clean your whole bathroom, right? then you take a shower, and then you take your spiritual bath. So you don't want to put any soap or anything in that water. You want the sea salt and the crystals to be fully activated. And you can even play some music in the background, like some solfeggio frequencies, or maybe a chakra balancing track if you're somebody that likes long baths. I personally don't like longer baths. I'm 15 minutes and I'm good. I'm a fire sign. So I'll listen to a meditative track for about 15 minutes and just zone out, imagine myself being cleansed and purged of all negativity. So yeah, you can use sea salt for spell work if that's something that you're in. Everybody that's metaphysical, spiritual should definitely have some sea salt. All right. And by the way, I've already saged. I have my little sage here, so I've definitely cleansed and everything. All right, so let's move on to the baking soda. And I just mentioned that, baking soda. And baking soda is a salt compound, but it's alkalized. So it's also known as sodium bicarbonate in other countries. And this has a lot of uses, as does the salt, but you can use it for your skin, for teeth whitening. You can make deodorant out of baking soda and arrowroot and some essential oils. You can use it for cleansing your hair. Like I do a baking soda apple cider vinegar rinse on my locks every couple of months to get those nice and clean. And it's a great antacid. So those are some of the benefits. You can also, like I said, use this in conjunction with the sea salt to banish negativity. You can mix them together. And I think that's all about what resonates with you. Some people like to just use the sea salt, but I actually do like to use the baking soda and the sea salt together. You can use it for cooking. You can make toothpaste with it. You can clean with it. It's a great deodorizer, right? We can clean a lot of things with baking soda, grease, tubs, all of that. And this was, I think this box was like 59 cents, right? So again, stock up on it when it's on sale. Make sure that you have this in your arsenal, right? So the next item I'm going to talk about is coconut oil. Okay. And most of you guys have coconut oil, I'm sure, but it's great for your hair and skin. It's antimicrobial, antibacterial. So it's great. It's one of the better oils for your skin because of that. You can also use it for oil pulling, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, but it's also good for blood sugar regulation. It's good. It's a good source of fatty acids. It increases brain function and it can help you with weight loss. Coconut oil, you can use it for baking, for frying, but you should probably use an oil that has a higher heat point as opposed to coconut oil. I personally use it as an everyday moisturizer for me and my son, and I do oil pulling. And oil pulling, there's been a lot of research done lately about it because initially, there was some research that came out about 4 years ago that said oil pulling was bad for your teeth and that it kind of eats away at your enamel. But there's been some, I'll put a link to that study in the community page. But I think that study was done in 2018 where there are some benefits to oil pulling with coconut oil because you can use sesame oil and some other oils, but coconut oil in particular is great because it's antiviral. So that's what makes it great for oil pulling, and it's good for your gum health. And oil pulling is good for hormonal balance. So I'll just give you my little regimen in the morning. I'm going to talk about diatomaceous earth here in a minute. But what I do before I brush my teeth or anything like that, I take 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and pour it into I'll usually have about half of this. This is 28 ounces right here. So maybe like 16 ounces of water and 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon of diatomaceous earth. And I shake that up, chug it down, and then I do my oil pulling. So the way you do oil pulling is take a tablespoon, maybe a little bit less of the coconut oil, put it in your mouth and just swish it around. The goal is 15 to 20 minutes, but start with 5 minutes, right? Because, like I said, some people have a sensitive gag reflex and you might not need to use a whole tablespoon, right? You can just use maybe a teaspoon even and start with that. Swish it around in your mouth, while you're doing your thing in the morning, going to the bathroom, getting your clothes out, prepping your water and coffee, whatever, right? And then you spit it out either in the trash can or you can spit it in the toilet, but don't spit coconut oil in your sink because it'll clog your pipes, or in your bathtub, right? They say that spit it in your trash can. That's the best way. But coconut oil has a lot of benefits when it's used for oil pulling in particular, and moisturizing the skin and the hair. You can use it as a conditioner. I will use a combination of coconut oil and sesame oil, and maybe I used to do this once a week. I'm actually going to get back on it. But you can also do oil pulling on your skin, because your skin is the largest organ, right? So, and it's exposed to all the toxins. So you should have some sort of regime to detoxify your skin, right? We want to beautify and all that stuff, but get the toxins out too. So what I'll do is mix coconut oil with sesame oil, pure sesame oil that's not cooked. So you've got to probably go to an Asian store and get that. Mix those two together and put it all over your body, into your scalp, all over your face, behind your ears, everywhere, in your crotch, on your legs, in between your toes, everywhere, and leave it on your skin for about maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and then take a shower. So you can actually do this after a workout. You don't have to do this particular oil pulling with clean skin, right? So sometimes after a yoga practice, I'll put on the oil and just, let it sit. And then I'll take a shower and rinse it off after about 15 to 20 minutes. I have a special robe that I put on just so I can let the oil kind of chill, and I'm not walking around naked, traumatizing my son, right? And if you have any questions, either on Instagram or YouTube, please put them in the comments and I'll answer them. I am going to allot some time towards the end of this. I'm trying to be more mindful of the time, just because I know that Instagram cuts off after like 45 minutes or something like that. Okay, so let's move on to apple cider vinegar, right? Now, this is the brand that I recommend, is the Bragg's organic apple cider vinegar. You want to get organic with the mother, right? I think there's some other brands out there too, but this is the most popular. I got this for, I don't know, $5 on sale. And it's a great antacid. This is really, really good. Like I said, in the morning, drinking that together, that's my pineal gland drink. Okay, so I put those two together. You can also use this to cleanse your hair and your skin, right? You can use this as a toner. It's also antibacterial, so you can use it to clean. You can use it as a mouthwash, as an astringent. It's going to lower your cholesterol. And like I mentioned, you can put it in an apple cider drink, but you can also, if you can't tolerate the apple cider, drinking it like that, you can also put it in salad dressing. It's also great for bruises too. So like I said, I use apple cider vinegar every day, every single day. I always have a few bottles of this on hand. And everything that I've mentioned, like I said, is going to help with heavy metal detoxification. So there's a lot of products out there, pills that you can take that are, heavy metal detox. That's what they promote. But we have to remember that pills, depending on how they were made, are liver toxic. If they have any type of pharmaceutical grade covering on them, they're going to be toxic for our liver. So I always recommend taking things in whole food form or liquid form or powder form, just so that you can bypass that whole pharmaceutical coating business, right? But that's just my professional opinion. You do what's right for you. All right, so let's move on to the things that you may want to get or include. So a lot of these things you probably already have, the three things I mentioned, but let's talk about some things that you might not have that you want to purchase. So as I mentioned earlier, the diatomaceous earth, right? And I got this on Amazon for, I think this was like $6 or $7, and this is a pound. So this is going to last several months, right? And diatomaceous earth is basically the calcified remains of blue-green algae. So it's very, very high in silica. I think it's almost 100% amorphous silica, right? So vegans, you can definitely take it. It's a very good source of B12, very good source of iron and omega fatty acids as well. It's going to detoxify the heavy metals. It's great if you suffer from candida or any type of yeast issues. It's anti-cancer. It's going to give you more energy, and it's going to help you with weight loss. You can use diatomaceous earth for getting rid of lice. You can use it in your, I know they put it in horse feed to keep them from getting parasites. You can give it to your pets if they have worms. You can also use it in your home if you have a pest problem, right? And you don't want to use anything with chemicals or anything scented. You can use diatomaceous earth. And I personally use it, like I said, and just put a tablespoon in my drink in the morning, and I'm good to go. But I've often used it in my face mask too, because it's got a great exfoliating quality to it. It's very gentle. So I will use it in a face mask from time to time. Definitely recommend that you take diatomaceous earth, but you cycle it. Okay. So you take it for about maybe 7 weeks, and then you take a week off just to give your body a break, because your body is made to adapt to things, right? So you should cycle off of a lot of things, with the exception of the food items. Like you can do the sea salt purgative, you're only going to do that every now and then, but you can continue to drink the apple cider vinegar. But things like the diatomaceous earth and I think that's it. Yeah, that's the one you probably want to just cycle. I'll take a week off and then start back up again. All right, so let's move on to spirulina. Now, I have mine in a recycled jar, but I'm going to see if I can show you what it looks like. So I love spirulina. This is another great source of B12 and chlorophyll. Let me just mention a thing about B12, because you've heard me talk about that a few times already. So B12 is essential for healthy nerve function, right? And a lot of the American diet, because it's processed, does not, there are some fortified foods, but B12 comes from the soil, and the soil has been degraded over time with pollution, with over farming, with factory farming. So the amount of B12 that was in the soil 30 years ago is not the same as it was today. Hello. So you definitely want to get your B12 levels checked regularly and supplement with B12, or eat foods that are fortified and high in B12, like the diatomaceous earth and the spirulina. And I like spirulina because, like I said, it's relatively inexpensive. I got a pound bag for, I think it was like $8.99, and it was organic, cold pressed. So I keep this in my freezer. You should, by the way, if you have nuts and seeds, anything like that, chia seeds, flax seeds, you always want to keep your nuts and things in the freezer, because nuts and fats, they go rancid, right? The fat and nuts will make the nuts go rancid after a while. People don't know that, especially if they're ground up. You definitely want to keep your nuts in the freezer, your nutritional yeast. You can, like I said, your spirulina and your diatomaceous earth you can keep in the cabinet, but just make sure that it's in a light, safe container. Yeah, thank you. A light container that keeps out the light, right? So I like, spirulina is not the best tasting thing, and it definitely stinks. So I put it in smoothie, and you can find spirulina in pill form, but I just throw it in a smoothie or into some juice, because you only need about a tablespoon and a half is one serving. So I'll typically just do one heaping teaspoon into my smoothie, and I'm good to go. Or I'll mix a little bit of apple juice with it and drink it that way. It's very, very green, so it makes you feel healthy when you have it, right? But I always, if you can do other green powders too, like moringa powder, and they've got, the ones that have a blend. But I personally just stick to spirulina, just because, like I said, it's relatively inexpensive, and I can, find it anywhere. Like I said, Amazon, it's $8 or $9, and you've got it. So definitely recommend spirulina, especially if you're someone who doesn't get enough greens, right? A lot of us struggle to get in our leafy greens. So spirulina does have a lot of those trace minerals. And like I said, it's an excellent source of protein as well. All right. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is cacao powder. Now, if you can't find cacao powder, or if it's out of your budget, bam. Okay, I found this. You can find this in the baking aisle of any store. This is 100% cacao. And this was $2.50. All right. So what I'll do, if I can't find like the big bags of cacao, or if I don't feel like going to Whole Foods or anything like that, I'll just buy this. And this is 4 ounces. So this will last you about a week, right? So I'll just crush this up and turn it into cacao nibs or put it into my coffee. So cacao is one of the greatest supplements that we can take, right? Because it's a great antidepressant, does help with the pineal gland as far as decalcification and grounding source energy, right? It's so important for us to stay grounded, especially in these changing times. So we can eat chocolate, right? It's going to increase your focus and clarity. This is what I'm talking about. Third eye stimulation. It's a great source of antioxidants and minerals. And so, like I said, I put it in my coffee, my smoothies. I can put this on top of oatmeal. This is 100% cacao, so it's very, very bitter. It's not sweet at all. So you definitely want to mix it with something. I wouldn't recommend taking a bite out of this, right? But I use cacao, like I said, I just put it in my coffee. So I'll have I'll have my drink in the morning, my pineal gland drink, the apple cider vinegar, and the diatomaceous earth, 1 tablespoon of diatomaceous earth, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 16 ounces of water, drink that. Then my oil pulling with the coconut oil. And then I'll have my lemon water, 1 liter, and then I'll have some coffee. And I drop a couple of, little bit of this in there, let it melt, maybe put in some kind of sweetener. I try to use stevia. I can't stand stevia, so I do use sugar. But you do whatever, you do you, right? And some people really love this in oatmeal too. So you can access this, right? Go to your grocery store. It's going to be, like I said, in the baking section, most likely. Yeah, cacao is gross. So yeah, like I mentioned, hello, everybody in the comments. Yeah, you got to mix it. Yeah, definitely mix it. So yeah, these are the things I wanted to talk to you about today. So like I said, I'm going to be putting resources in the community tab on my YouTube page so that you can do further research and see how these things can benefit you. But these are all things that I use every day that are totally inexpensive, things that you probably already have in your home. And I definitely notice a difference when, like, if I'm on vacation or something, or if I've skipped a couple of days, when I haven't done this regime. So I definitely try to stay as consistent as possible. So I prepare my water the night before. Like so I drink about 5 of these a day, 4 or 5 of these a day. And I'll have these prepared the night before. I'll put lemon in them, maybe some blueberries, some cucumber, whatever, if I'm trying to get fancy. And I'll have my jar sitting on the counter ready for me in the morning. So I have my jar in my bathroom so that I can mix in my apple cider vinegar and my diatomaceous earth, drink that. My coconut oil's in the bathroom. I'm doing my thing, swishing. Then I go brush my teeth. Wash up if I'm going to take a shower before I meditate. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And then I will have my water and my coffee. And my water's ready for the whole day. So I don't have any excuse. It's sitting on the counter. I can just chug it, right? And it kind of keeps me accountable because I see that it's there. I need to drink my water, right? So always be prepared. And yeah, I think that's it. So that's the whole purpose, like I said, of these supplements is to decalcify the pineal gland, to improve our spiritual connection, and to provide our body with a lot of vitamins and minerals and nutrition, because our body is the vessel that is carrying us through this ascension and awakening process. All right. So I'm going to see if there's any questions here in the comments. Thank you. Thank you, Melanie. Yeah, if you have a B12 deficiency, I when I take B12, I only take it about maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Some people need to get the shot if they're really deficient. So check with your doctor and see if that's you. But that's why I always stress the importance of annual blood tests annually. You want to get blood tests done every year and get an allergy test done every couple of years. Like after I had my son, I had another allergy test done and I realized, oh, okay, my body changed a little bit. Like I really can't eat a whole lot of gluten like I used to be able to. And I definitely had, a little bit of an iron deficiency, of course. So you just want to know your levels because then you can make an educated choice as to which supplements to take and which ones not to take. And another thing I want to mention is a lot of vitamins are what are called water soluble. So that means that if it's not vitamin A, vitamin D, E, or K, those 4 vitamins, A, D, E, and K, and all of the subcategories of those are oil soluble. So they get stored in the body, right? So that's one thing to be mindful of because fats store toxins as well. So you don't want to overtake things like that. Also, the water soluble vitamins, your body is going to use what it needs and the rest is going to go in the toilet. Okay, so if you don't have a deficiency in vitamin C, for example, and you're taking a $60 multivitamin that has vitamin C in it, you're not benefiting from that at all because your body is already good because maybe you have a green smoothie every morning. Maybe you eat enough leafy greens. You see what I'm saying? So your calcium level or your vitamin C levels are good, right? So you're not going to benefit from the vitamin C in that multivitamin. And I also really caution people against taking vitamins that are single, right? So just vitamin C, just vitamin D, because again, we're talking about balance, right? So it's important to get your levels checked because then you'll know, okay, I need to take a little bit of extra vitamin D or some B12 for a little while until I get my levels back up. Then I can focus on getting what I need from my nutrition. All right. So let's see. Okay, so I'm going to end here. If there aren't any other questions, then I'm going to go ahead and sign out. But if you do have any additional questions, you can leave them in the description of this video, or you can post them in the community section where I'm going to be listing additional resources for you to use and do some research. So like I said, please do research. We have so much information readily available to us. So many, medical studies have been done. I highly recommend that you read medical studies and make sure that the information that you're reading is put out by credible sources because that information is available. There's no need for us to guess when it comes to our health. There's no need for us to follow anecdotal information when we have evidence, right? Science-based evidence. And so that's why, even though I'm a very spiritual person, definitely, I see the value in the medical industry in the sense that they provide us with a lot of information that we as regular people would not have access to otherwise. So there is definitely some benefit to the medical industry in that regard. So we need to remember that everything is here for our growth and expansion. Everything is here to serve our highest good. So make sure that you are examining all of your options, right? So that you can decide what's right for you. I remember one of my yoga teachers telling me something very simple, but very profound. In this world, you want to know a little about a lot. All right. So I'm going to end there. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and you can comment, subscribe, donate, and I will see you in the next video on Wednesday live and look forward for my energy update that I will be posting on Friday or Saturday. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Namaste.